Assalamu alaikum to everyone. Hope you will be fine. Can you hear me? Okay. We have completed all our syllabus, which is allocated for the academic year. So now there will be a revision classes, and especially we will concentrate on the clinical cases because there is a deficiency of the clinical teaching. So after the opening of the classes, there will be a stress on, especially on the clinical classes and the methodologies. So you have in the exam short cases, So in the short cases, there are certain clinical conditions like examination of the thyroid gland, or the examination of the salivary glands, the parotid glands, the examination of the oral cavity, and especially the examination of the ulcer area and the examination of the swellings. So the examination of the ulcers and the examination of the swellings of any type of the ulcer or the swellings. You can apply this knowledge for any swelling or the ulceration in the head and neck regions. So in the exam, the most important, every students will get one case about the examination of thyroid glands, like examination of the swellings. And the second most important is the examination of the ulcers. So in the ulcer, you may have ischemic ulcers. In the majority cases, they are wounds like the diabetic foods. They are very important. So in the today discussions, we will take the most important cases about the thyroid diseases because they are very important for the examination point of view. So we take an example of thyroid swelling. So we start with the history of the patients. A middle-aged patient, 45 years old, woman is referred to the general surgical outpatient department after his general physician noticed a swelling in the neck. So whenever there is a swelling in the neck, so you have to rule out this swelling from the thyroid swelling. There are many differential of the swellings in the neck. The common swelling may be a simple lymph nodes, but usually these lymph nodes are present in the anatomical sites. They may be present in the submental regions on the side of the neck, like along the internal jugular veins. So in the center, very rarely the peritracheal lymph node they may be palpable. Although in the center, less likely the lymph nodes are there. And then the swelling is present in the anatomical site of the thyroid gland, and it moves on the deglutition or the swelling, then we label it is the thyroid swelling. 99% swellings which are present in front part of the neck and that moves on the swelling act, we take it as a thyroid swelling. And if in the midline the small swelling is present in the upper part of the neck and it also moves with the tongue protrusions as well as the swallowing act, we take it as the thyroglossal cyst. But usually age is less, not at this middle age. Usually they are 24 or 30 years of age. They present with the thyroglossal cyst. But here the patient is female and she has swelling in the neck. On questioning the patient's reports, losing about a stone in the weight. So she has lost of weight. Stone is used as a unit for the weight over the preceding 3 months, despite having an increased appetite. So this is very important factors. The patient is losing weight in spite of the increased appetite. There are certain conditions like others, apart from the metabolic diseases, like in which the patient has a malignancy or the patient has a problem with the GIT tract and the chronic diseases like tuberculosis or the cirrhosis, the patient has a loss of appetite, and this loss of appetite leads to the weight loss. But here, in spite of the increased appetite, patient has a lost weight. So whenever the scenario is like this, the patient is losing weight in spite of the good appetite, you think about the metabolic disease. So among these metabolic diseases, so the uncontrolled diabetes is one of the disease which can lead to this. And the other ways, the patient has a hyperthyroidism or the thyrotoxicosis. So you have to rule out the diabetes as well as the thyrotoxicosis in such patients. She also complains that she always feels hot and has to feel on the top of the bed cover at the night. So there is a intolerance to heat. This is one other symptom which is present in these patients. Her bowel motions have been and she have a diarrhea off and on. So what are the important things in the history of this patient? The middle-aged female having the neck swelling and she has a lost weight in spite of the increased appetite and she has a heat intolerance and she has a loose motions. So what comes in your minds? What you're thinking about on just on taking the history of the patients? What you think? Anyone? Yeah, yes, Isaac, hypothyroidism, hypothyroidism. Okay, it's right, hypothyroidism. You will label hypothyroidism until you get the thyroid function test. So let me know what is the difference between hypothyroidism and the thyrotoxicosis. Anyone can explain what is hypothyroidism and what is thyrotoxicosis? Jekra, what is the difference between thyrotoxicosis and hypothyroidism? Max says hypothyroidism increase in the hormone thyroxine. Okay, it's fine. This is hypothyroidism. And what is the thyrotoxicosis? मैक अपना माइक ओपन करो बेटा.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर.
वालेकुम सलाम. हाँ जी
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 सर.
बेटा. You say hypothyroidism is increase in the hormone thyroxine. Okay, it's
यस
fine.
सर.
So what about the thyrotoxicosis?
सर
चलिए सुने. Let me explain it. Hypothyroidism is only when the level of the hormones they are increased. We label it as hypothyroidism. Thyrotoxicosis will explain all the signs and symptoms of the hypothyroidism other than they cannot be explained. Like patient has a proptosis, patient has a little retractions, and patient has a tremors. So all these things they cannot be explained with the hyperthyroidism because one there is a one variety in there is a diffuse toxic item and others we will explain later on. There are multinodulars and ultimately they get hyperthyroidism. So hyperthyroidism only explain the increased level, but all other symptoms cannot be explained with the hyperthyroidism. It may not be present if they simply hyperthyroidism, the patient has an eye sign, patient has a tremor or other things. So that's why this thyrotoxic is term uh, this is retained to explain the symptoms of the all other which are increasing in like in the grave disease. तो उस वजह से ये जो ना इसको करते हैं. So this is the difference between two. Or you go for the examination of these patients. You know what is just I briefly explain how you examine the patient. You are given in the exam with the patient of thyroid disease. Patient has a swelling in front part of the neck. So your patient should be sitting on the stool and you take the consent from the patient. May I check you? And you can ask a few questions about the swellings. And you must have some water with you to find out on the swelling act the patient can swallow and the swelling is moving or not. So the patient sitting on the stool, so the proper exposure of the patient is important and you are sitting in front of the patient and first you inspect and give the patient water and to swallow. And on examination inspection, if the swelling moves with the sip of water, so you will label it is the thyroid swelling. So your examination will be towards the examination of thyroid. At the same time, if the swelling is small in size and present in the midline, like at the level of the hyoid bone, you ask the patient to protrude the tongue. And on the tongue protrusions, if swelling is moving upwards, so we label it is the thyroglossosis. So at this moment on inspection, you just give a command to the patient. So this is very important, the first command to the patient. Give a sip of water and inspect if it is moving. So if it is moving, so your examination always towards the thyroid examination. So you will do the local examination of the thyroid and all the findings of the inspection. You find the site, size, shape, the color changes, the margins, and the overlying veins. So they are prominent or not. At the same time, you ask the patient to raise both hands and above their neck, and if there is any flushing, so it means there is a compression of the retrosternal vital. If there is an enlarged, very large size swelling, though swelling, this will be visible in gauge veins. So any scar mark, this is very important in the neck regions. So any scar mark means the previous surgery is performed there and patient has a recurrence of the disease. Then obviously you go for the palpations. So you can go for the palpation in front. You find out all the findings you have taken on the inspection and to confirm these swellings. And later on, you go behind the patients and put your fingers in front of the swellings and palpate for the any nodules to find the diffusibility and nodularity. This is a very important part of the palpations. And obviously, you have checked the first local temperature and tenderness in front, but later on you go for the palpation of the nodules. At the same times, you again ask the patient to take a sip of water and find you confirm whether the swelling is slipping from your hands and the lower limit is reachable or not, because it will show the retrosternal extension of the thyroid gland. This is very important during the palpation. So first you go the local examination of the thyroid swelling. Obviously you check the lymph nodes of the patients. You will check the carotid arteries to find whether it is displaced, it is palpable or not palpable. Because in certain conditions like in malignancies, you are unable to palpate the carotid pulses, and especially If they are large size of the goiter, they are displeased. If the arteries they are not palpable, like in malignancy, so uh, this this is the one of the sign which shows there is engulfment of these carotid arteries. So after the examination, you go the general physical examination. The patient is thin, irritable, and has a noticeable headache. So if the carotid arteries are not palpable, so what is the signs? Anybody? Anybody can explain if the carotid arteries they are not palpable in the malignancies. So there is a certain name of these signs. It is just like a fruit. One fruit. It is the name of one fruit. You usually yes, Isa. Berry sign. This is berry sign. Good. So berry sign is positive if the carotid arteries they are not palpable. Cortania is also berry sign. So noticeable fine resting tremor. This is very important. The patient is thin, weight loss, and irritable, excitable, and noticed fine resting tremor in the patients. Her peripheries feel warm, so the hands they are warm, and she has a resting heart rate of 110. You feel the pulse is 110. Patient has a tachycardia, blood pressure is a normal range. So when the patient has a tremor and patient has a tachycardia and the palms they are warm and sweaty. So here are the very important when you feel the palms they are warm and sweaty and certain conditions they are cold and sweaty. So what is the difference between two? If you feel the palms they are warm and sweaty and they are cold and sweaty. So how will you differentiate between these two conditions? Anyone? Angelina, what is the difference between two conditions? Amna, Amna is here. Amna Mubashir. Amna is not here. अनमोल है अनमोल आफ्ताब अनमोल भी नहीं है अनम हाँ जी व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन टू एनीवन चलो कोई जिसको पता है वो बताए आयजा आप बताओ
जी सर, अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
वालेकुम
सर
सलाम
हाइपोथायराइडिज्म में कोल्ड एंड स्वेटी होंगे और हाइपरथायराइडिज्म में वार्म।
नहीं
थैंक यू सो
हाइपो
मच।
में वार्म तो नहीं हो
हाइपर में वार्म।
हाँ हाइपोथायराइडिज्म में तो है ना दे फील वार्म एंड स्वेटी
जी
एंड व्हाट इज द दे
सर,
आर
हाइपोथायराइडिज्म अगर होगा तो
cold
उसमें
and sweaty because the
जी
sweaty they are sweating in both conditions. So in
जी
one condition there is a warm and in other condition there is a cold. So what is
यस सर।
cold sweaty? Cold sweaty किसमें होते हैं?
सर हाइपोथायराइडिज्म में।
Cold. Patient has anxiety.
ओ जी
In anxiety, patient must have a tachycardia. Patient maybe have a tremor. You know when there is anxiety, patient कांप रहा
यस
होता
सर।
है, हाथ उसके दिल की धड़कन तेज होती है. और हाथ लेकिन उसके ठंडे और स्वेटी होते हैं, मतलब होते हैं. So this is the difference
जी
between conditions. Although there are tachycardia, there is a tremor, but the palms they are cold and sweaty. So you can differentiate between the anxiety and the hyperthyroidism or thyrotoxicosis on just physical examination. चलें ठीक. On examination of the neck, there is a smooth, moderate enlargement of the thyroid glands. So this is very important. This is a smooth enlargement. So on examination, there is no nodular changes. There is no nodularity, and which moves on swelling. So this is the confirmation. This swelling is very smooth, diffuse, and but it moves with the swelling act. So it means your findings are in the favor of the thyroid disease. So it is the one of the thyroid swellings, and it is diffuse in large. So there is a protrusions of the eyes with lid retractions. Again, extrathyroidal signs if you go, so the patient has a protrusion of the eyes and there is a lid retractions. So anyone can explain what is the protrusion of eyes like exophthalmos and what is the lid retractions? What is the cause of these two conditions? Anyone? Aisha is there?
Yes, sir.
हाँ जी, क्या हाल है? आपके नंबर बहुत ज्यादा आ रहे हैं टेस्टों में हैं. पहले तो ये राज बताएं सबको कि आपके इतने मार्क्स क्यों ज्यादा हैं?
सर बस दुआएं हैं.
नहीं, वो तो दुआएं तो हमारी सारी हैं. कोई टेक्नोलॉजी तो नहीं अच्छी निकाल ली आप लोगों
नहीं
ने?
सर, नहीं.
अच्छा, दैट्स फाइन. इट इज वेरी गुड. आई एम वेरी हैप्पी कि
Thank you.
आपके यू आर गेटिंग वेरी वेल. अपनी पेज पे दोबारा वापस आ गए हो आप. सो लेट मी नो. So what is the exophthalmos? What is the cause of the exophthalmos in thyrotoxicosis and lid retractions?
सर रेट्रोऑर्बिटल टिश्यूज में एडीमा जो
Yes,
होता है.
good, very good, very good. You deserve good marks. Good. And what is the lid retraction? What
सर
is the cause of the lid retraction? Hmm.
सर नहीं पता.
Basically, चलिए कोई बात नहीं. Basically, this is due to the uh, increased level of the adrenaline. So this lid retraction is basically overactivity of the lids. So her visual acuity and eye movements are normal, and there is no associated lymphedema. The patient has no lymph node enlargement. The heart sounds are normal, and the chest is clear. So there is no murmur, but the patient has a tachycardia. So in this all examinations, you think patient has a diffuse swelling in the neck, and that moves on the swelling gland, and patient is a tachycardia, there is a tremor, there is a feeling of the warmth and sweaty hands, and the exophthalmos and related traction. So all these signs are in the favor of the thyrotoxicosis or hyperthyroidism. So when the investigation was done, the normal investigation of this patient again, the patient has a normal hemoglobin, mean cell volume, they are normal range, and the white cell count is normal. There is no inflammatory changes, and the patient has a tachycardia. Platelets are normal, sodium, potassiums, they are urea creatinine, they are normal. So if you think, see the TSH, that is a low TSH in this patient. Patient of 0.1 0.01. So the normal range is 0.5 to 5.7. So the T3, they are slightly raised, and the 42 is the more. So T3, T4 levels, they are increased, and the TSH is the less. So the TSH suppressed. So in which condition TSH is suppressed? So the TSH is suppressed in the hyperthyroidism. So this is the case of the hyperthyroidism on the thyroid profiles. So we have to solve these questions. What are the causes of this quarter? And what is the likely diagnosis in these patients? And what are the options for the treatment? So we will discuss three questions here. So the goiter is an enlargement of the thyroid gland. It can be diffuse or the multinodular in origins. But in our case, the patient has a diffuse enlargement, not a multi. There is no nodule is felt on the examinations. So if you go in the detail of the diffuse, so there may be a physiological, there is the puberty and the pregnancy induced. So this is the commonest cause of the enlargement of the diffuse enlargement of the thyroid gland. And there may be autoimmune disease like Graves' disease, the Hashimoto thyroiditis. These two conditions, they are relationship with the autoimmune. So if you go for the antibody titers, you will find the antibodies, they are present in the serum in the Graves' disease and the Hashimoto thyroiditis. So the Graves' disease is one of the autoimmune disease in which the TSH receptors, they have antibodies. They cover the receptor areas and increase level of the inappropriate level of the thyroid hormone. So it increased. And Hashimoto is one of the type of the thyroiditis. But in thyroiditis, patient has a pain in the neck region. But in this patient, there is no pain. And usually these are the hard swellings and they may be nodular sometimes. And sometimes there is no present any swelling in the neck, but the hormone levels, they are disturbed. So the other may be inflammatory, so like the thyroiditis, deeper vein disease, Riddle's thyroiditis, and the iodine deficiency. They are simple colloid, simple goiters. They may be a diffuse, and the goiterogenic, carbimazole, and propylthyroid. Sometimes the patient is getting these drugs, so it can cause a diffuse enlargement of the thyroid gland. So the other condition is the multinodular, solitary nodules, and multinodular goiters, cysts, tumors, adenomas, and the miscellaneous sarcoidosis, tuberculosis. So in our patient, there is just diffuse enlargement, but there are symptoms of the hyperthyroidism. So what is likely diagnosis in this patient? This patient has a hyperthyroidism secondary to Graves' disease. So this is the case of the Graves' disease. The TSH levels are suppressed and there are increased level of the free T3, T4. As we have seen in the investigation, these three levels, they are increased, but the TSH level was suppressed. Graves' disease most commonly develops in the woman. So that's why this scenario is taken from the woman. So in the exam, if you have a scenario of the woman, a thyroid disease is like hyperthyroidism, and there is a diffuse enlargement, you will think about is the Graves' disease. So the ideal age is 30 to 50 years, and it's caused by the circulating stimulating antibodies to the thyroid receptors. So these are the long-acting thyroid stimulators. So these patients often present with many symptoms, including the palpitations. As in this patient, there is a tachycardia, there is anxiety, and there is a thirst, sweating. Patient has a weight loss, heat intolerance, and increased bowel frequency. The patient has presented with the loose stools. So the enhanced activity of the adrenergic system also leads to the agitation and the restlessness. Approximately 25 to 30% of the patient with the Graves' disease have clinical evidence of the ophthalmopathy. So in this patient, we have seen two signs. One is the exophthalmos, the vision of the eyeballs, and the second was the red detection. So the other signs, lid lag, if you can find, you can also see the lid lag. So this almost only occurs in the Graves' disease. Very rarely it is found in the hypothyroidism and is due to the autoantibodies damage or leading to the swelling of the orbital fat and connective tissue. So this is the cause of the protrusion of the eyeballs. So the low titers of the microsomal and thyroglobulin antibodies are also often present in patients with the. So these findings may be present low titer of the microsomal in these patients. So what are the options for the treatment? You know, in the Graves' disease, there are three modalities we use usually, and repeatedly this question comes in the exam. Every year you will get in the supply or in the annual a question about the Graves' disease. So many patients are not treated with the radioactive iodine therapy, but there are certain limitations for the radioactive iodine discussed and the lectures we have discussed. So this is not a good option. But if the age is above 40, then this patient has ideal for the radioactive iodine. Antithyroid medication, carbimazole, propylthyroids are used to establish the control of the hypothyroidism and act by inhibiting thyroid hormone productions. Then the role of the beta blocker is very important in the initials. So basically, these beta blockers control the heart rate of the patients, and the hormones which are present in the periphery, they counter these hormones. So that's why the beta blocker, they are very important when you perform the surgery, when the surgery is performed on the thyroid glands, and there is a manipulation of the thyroid glands, and all these hormones, they are increased in the periphery. So this beta blocker can counter all these. Otherwise, there are chances of the thyrotoxicosis stop in those patients. Now, the surgery is indicated in patient with the large goiters, in patient with the recurring disease. So once you have treated with the radioactive iodine or with the medications, but patient is recurrent. Usually with the radioactive iodine or with the medication, if you give for 2 years, 2.5 years, the patient is cured. But if the recurrence has occurred, then again it will not work and you have to go for the surgeries. And in patient unable to have radioactive iodine therapy, like there is contraindication, especially they are planning for the pregnancy. So if the age is less, in the age of 30 years, 35 years before the postmenopausal, and there is a contraindication for the radioactive iodine, then you go for surgery, the good options. And there is a surgical risk of the damage to the recurrent laryngeal nerve. So 1% there are chances of the recurrent. So this is very important when you perform a surgery, explain the patient with the complication. So among these complications, the one most important is the laryngeal nerve damage. And in certain conditions, 1%, if you go for the total thyroidectomy or the subtotal thyroidectomy, the hypocalcemia due to the damage of the parathyroid hormone. And the other is the hypothyroidism. If you go for the total, there is 100% hypothyroidism will occur. If you go for the subtotal, then 10% there are chances of the hypothyroidism because the remaining part is sufficient to produce the hormones in these Graves' disease. So these were the different modalities treatment which are used for the uh, treatment of the Graves' disease. Now we'll take one other example of a case. So again, this patient is 40 years old, woman, has been referred to the surgical outpatient with the painless lump in the neck. She had noticed the lump 2 weeks previously when looking in the mirror. So this is the one of the cause why the patient has presented and how she has noticed. Some other person can make a notice of the swelling, and patient himself can notice in front of the mirror. She had not noticed any other lump and does not complain of any other symptom. She has not gained weight gain or loss recently, and her bowel uh, uh, habits are remain normal. So there is no any other symptom except the patient has a swelling in front part of the neck. So on examination, there is a solitary swelling 2 into 2 centimeters. Solitary means the single swelling to the left of the midline just above the mandibular. Swelling is formed smooth and fixed. The swelling moves on swelling but does not move on the perfusion of tongue. This was very important. The swelling only moves with the swelling So it means it is the thyroid swelling, and it does not move on the perfusion of the tongue, so it will rule out the thyroglossal cyst. And there are no associated palpable lymph nodes. There is no lymph nodes are palpable, so it will rule out in the initial stage, like those malignancies which has presented with the metastasis. So the general examination revealed no further abnormalities in these patients. So when we got the investigation, hemoglobin is normal, the mean cell volume is normal, white cell count is normal, platelets they are normal, sodium potassium urea. But the TSH is zero point 0.6 in this patient, so it is taken usually a slightly raised, but in normal range. So all these investigation they are in the normal range. So you have to answer these questions. What is the differential diagnosis for a lump in the anterior triangle of the neck? And what is this lump likely to be originating from? And what steps would you take in the assessment of this lump? And which factors may suggest the malignancy? And what are the common types of the malignancies? So this is the one other example of the swelling of the thyroid gland, which comes in the form of a solitary swellings. As we have discussed in our previous lectures, solitary swelling is more dangerous because there are chances of 10%, there are chances of the malignancy can occur in these cases. So if you the differential, there is a long list, multiple lymph nodes, solitary. Does it move with the swelling? Yes. Then with thyroid origin, thyroglossal cyst, and perfusion of the tongues. If there does not move, then there is a long list of the salivary gland, dermoid cyst, carotid body, lymph node, laryngeal cyst, cold abscess. So all these we have discussed in the neck regions. So the clinical examination indicates that swelling is likely to be a palpable thyroid nodule. The majority of the patients are clinically euthyroid and have a normal thyroid function. Presence of the abnormal thyroid function suggests a benign diagnosis. Factors that increase the suspicion of the malignancies. So you must know these all factors. In the exam, you may be asked about what are the factors which can give a suspicion of the malignancies. Age younger than 20 years, older than 70 years, male sex is more prone to get malignancy, recent origin and rapid growth, and increase in the size. This is the most important factor in the examination, in the history of the patient. The swelling has increased in size. So they are firm and hard and immobile nodules. Presence of the cervical lymphadenopathy, associated symptoms of the dysphagia and dysphonia due to the pressure defect, and history of the neck radiations. This is very important. The papillary carcinoma of the thyroid is one of the cause after the irradiation of the neck. The irradiation of the neck is for any other purpose. So the prior history of the thyroid carcinoma or a positive family history, they are also important factors in malignancies. So the less than 20% of the thyroid nodules are malignant, with majority being cystic or benign. Many solitary thyroid nodules are dominant nodules in a multinodular goiter, which carry 5% risk of the malignancy. So that's why if the patient is presenting with the multinodular goiters, the long-standing there may be chances of the malignancy can happen. So all those patients which has a long-standing history of the multinodular goiter, apart from the cosmetic regions, but one of the most important reason is to avoid the malignancies. The ultrasound is used to distinguish between solid and cystic nodules, as well as differentiating solitary nodule from dominant nodule in a multinodule goiter. So this is the good modality, ultrasound, to differentiate between. So in the solitary, the fine needle aspiration has a high sensitivity and specificity for distinguishing benign from the malignant lumps in the thyroid. So all the malignancy of the thyroid gland can be diagnosed on FNAC except one. Let me know what is that. बताएं जी anyone कौन सी malignancy जो है वो FNAC पे diagnose नहीं होती thyroid की malignancy. You know there are many malignancy of thyroid like papillary, follicular, anaplastic. Yes, Sadia Ahmed. Follicular, good. Follicular cannot be diagnosed of NAC. For the follicular, you have to do the lobectomy and stomectomy, or you go for the frozen section biopsy. So the main limitation of the fine needle aspiration is in the differential of the benign follicular adenoma from the malignant follicular. If the follicular neoplasm has been diagnosed on fine needle aspiration, the lesion will need to be fully excised to exclude the malignancy. This is very important. Radioisotope scanning provides functional assessment of the thyroid nodule, which can be classified as cold and hot. So the radioactive isotope indication. What is the single indication for the thyroid scan? Anyone? सिर्फ एक इंडिकेशन जिस पे आप थायराइड स्कैन करवाते हैं, अदरवाइज देयर इज नो नीड एट ऑल, दैट इज द एब्सोल्यूट नीड. एनीवन? बताएं जी, स्कैन की इंडिकेशन क्या है? So in the exam, you never write down in all thyroid. You will start with the investigation like scans. No, not only raised 3T4. There must be something else. You go for the grave disease for the thyroid scan. When the patient has a hyperthyroidism, sign of the hyperthyroidism are the thyrotoxicosis with multiple nodules. The only indication is multiple nodules with toxicity. If the multinodal goiter with toxicity, not simple. If a multinodal goiter with hyperthyroidism, toxic multinodal goiter is the only one indication. Otherwise, there is no absolute indication. आपको जरूरत नहीं है. So if you go for simple scanning, so you will find there is according to the function, the cold nodule or the hot nodule. The cold nodule means it is not taking the proper iodine. It is cold functionally. ये ठंडा पड़ा हुआ है. And hot means it is taking the more radioactive iodine. The metabolic activity is more here. So it is in the toxic forms. So the hot in the toxic form. And cold, it is not taking any. So the chances of the malignancy are more in the cold nodule, not in the hot. But maybe in present in the hot nodule there are chances of malignancy, but majority 20% there are chances in the cold nodule. So the most solitary thyroid nodules are cold with the risk of cancer around 20%. This is important. So here is a bird eye view of the thyroid cancers. Like there are papillary, there are follicular, anaplastic, and medullary. Papillary frequency 70%, most common. If you are asked in the exam what is the most common frequent malignancy of the thyroid, it is papillary. Then second is the follicular, then the anaplastic, then the medullary. So the age limit in the young age, it is the papillary, in the middle age is the follicular, in the old age is the anaplastic. And the medullary is usually familial. If there is a medullary carcinoma, you have to screen out the family members. So the behavior in the papillary is the slow growing lymphatic spread to the nodes. So the blood stream occurs in the follicular. Anaplastic is very aggressive, locally spread. So that's why you cannot perform a surgery. Surgery is contraindicated in the anaplastic. And the medullary, they take origin from the C cells. And it is associated with the multiple endocrine neoplasm syndrome. That is called the MEN syndrome. So the prognosis, fair, good prognosis in the papillary, and 80%, and in the follicular 60%, very poor in the anaplastic. So we stop here discussion. In this two examples we have taken of the thyroid, in which one is the hyperthyroidism and other is the multiple nodules or the solitary nodules, and ultimately that can lead to the malignancy of these conditions. Any question here? यहाँ पे कोई क्वेश्चन है तो आप पूछ सकते हैं, और अपनी अटेंडेंस लगाएं, मैं ज़रा चेक कर लूँ उसको. शहजाद इज एब्सेंट, राफे इज एब्सेंट, आयशा फारूक इज एब्सेंट। ये आयशा फारूक कौन है? ये यूजुअली एब्सेंट ही होती है। ये क्लास में है अभी कि नहीं? क्यों आयशा? सादिया खालिद इज एब्सेंट, मोहम्मद हसनैन इज एब्सेंट। अच्छा, ये कौन लोग हैं? ये यूजुअली एब्सेंट आ रहे हैं, इनके टेस्टों में भी एब्सेंट आते हैं। ये शावेज जमीर कौन है?
सर ये ऊपर वाले जो बच्चे हैं वो न्यू एडिशंस हैं, डिटेनीज।
नहीं तो ये आते नहीं है?
नहीं सर, इनको शायद लिंक नहीं जाता या पता नहीं, वैसे ही उनका अटेंडेंस का इशू नहीं होता तो वो आते नहीं है।
अच्छा, तो ये रावेल कौन है? रावेल असद भी नहीं है
सर वो
एब्सेंट?
शायद वैसे ही नहीं आई होगी आज।
अच्छा, ये वैसे नहीं आया। ये जो पहले
जी
वाले
सर।
आप बता रहे हो, ये मोहम्मद शहजाद है, राफे फारूकी है और आयशा फारूक, इनकी बात कर रहे हो? ये तीन जो हैं ये डिटेनी। ये सादिया खालिद ये भी नहीं है। चलें ये देख लें, जो जो अभी मैंने स्क्रीन पे शो किए हैं, दे आर ऑल एब्सेंट इसमें। तो अगर इसमें कोई प्रेजेंट है तो मुझे बता दें। मेरा नहीं है इसमें, सारे बाकी तो जो प्रेजेंट है ये भी पता नहीं है कि नहीं है। मुझे नहीं लगता ये प्रेजेंट।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
जी वालेकुम। हाँ, क्या
सर
नाम है
मैंने
आपका?
आपसे वो एक व्हाट्सएप पे डिस्कस किया था, सर काजिम नाम है मेरा।
हाँ जी,
सर काजिम नाम है।
क्या नाम है आपका बेटा?
सर काजिम काजिम।
काजिम नहीं है इसमें?
सर मैं वैसे कोई और चीज़ डिस्कस करनी है।
हाँ बताएं।
सर मैंने आपको व्हाट्सएप पे मैसेज किया था वो मेरे टेस्ट के लिए कि वो सर जब भी मैं सेव करता हूँ तो सर वो जो एमसीक्यूज मैंने सही भी किए होते हैं वो रिस्पांस फॉर्म खुद ही वो फिल करके तो वो सबमिट हो जाता है और नंबर भी कोई 2 आ जाते हैं, कभी 3 आ जाते हैं, कभी 1 आ जाता है। पिछले
तूने
टेस्ट में
बेटा कुछ
5 आ गए।
जैन रखा हुआ है? हैं? मुझे ये
सर
बताओ सब।
मुझे तो
मेरी बात सुनो बेटा, जो कंप्यूटर जो है ना, ये जो आप जिस तरीके से रिस्पॉन्स देते हैं ना उस तरीके से ही ये लेता है इसको, जिस टाइमली। आप किसी के साथ भी कोई इस तरह का प्रॉब्लम लेस लाइकली नहीं हुआ। मैं आईटी डिपार्टमेंट से किया, फिर मैंने आपको आपके रिस्पॉन्स भी निकाल लिया, आपने कहा ये मेरे रिस्पॉन्स ही नहीं है। अब देखें ना, वो रिस्पॉन्स को जिन तो नहीं ना भर रहा। तो
सर
इसके लिए
देखें
या
जब
तो
बंदा
फिर
टेस्ट
आपने
कर रहा होता है उसको कुछ 4-5 आंसर तो याद ही होते हैं जो उसने लगाए हैं। सर वो मैंने ऑप्शंस मार्क ही नहीं किए, नहीं वो पता नहीं सर अपनी सर वो एक ऑप्शन क्लियर नजर
ये
आ
टेस्ट
रही है
बेटा
वाली।
ना, ये ट्रिकी होते हैं। इसमें ना बहुत रीशफलिंग हुई हुई होती है। ये ऑनलाइन जो टेस्ट लेते हैं ना हम, ये बहुत रीशफल्ड होते हैं। इसमें अब थोड़ी सी भी मिस्टेक्स आगे पीछे या कहीं आपके बैक में कोई ऐसा एमसीक्यू मैंने दिया हुआ एग्जाम में लिया हुआ है, तो आपको याद है शायद उसकी ऑप्शन सी थी, तो यहाँ पे ऑप्शन वो सारी जो ना चेंज कर देता है, सारी बहुत रैपिडली इसको वो ना रीशफल किया हुआ होता है, और हर स्टूडेंट को ये डिफरेंट तरीके से जाता है। तो इसके बावजूद भी अगर होती तो जो रिस्पॉन्स आपने दिया होता है ना, वो रिस्पॉन्स शीट मैंने
जी
निकाली
सर
थी, वो
ठीक है,
आपको भेजी भी थी
थैंक
शायद
यू।
मैंने। ये आपको जाती नहीं रिस्पॉन्स शीट्स वैसे?
सर अगली दफ़ा तो ये है कि मैं स्क्रीन रिकॉर्डिंग कर लूँगा जब मैं टेस्ट करूँगा, पूरा मैं
हाँ
स्क्रीन रिकॉर्ड कर लूँगा कि सर को फिर मैं आपको बाद में एज अ प्रूफ दिखा दूँगा सर मैंने ये ऑप्शन मार्क की थी,
हाँ,
ये नहीं।
आप उसी टाइम में जो ऑप्शन जो आपने की होगी उसी के दरमियान, बाद में वो एक्सेप्ट नहीं होती कि आपका लेटर ऑन आपकी लेट सबमिशन में, तो वो उसमें फिर प्रॉब्लम है, वो तो कंसिडर नहीं होगी। विद इन टाइम की आप शॉट ले लें उसका, कि अभी मैंने तो ये शॉट आपने जो ना,
जी और मैं आपको सेंड कर
हाँ
दूँगा।
वो मुझे सेंड कर देना, फिर मैं आईटी से ना डिस्कस करूँ। मैंने उनसे डिटेल की, वो कहते हो ही नहीं सकता, पॉसिबिलिटी नहीं है इस तरीके से।
सर और भी सब्जेक्ट्स में बच्चों का हो रहा है।
वो इसलिए तो फिर उनसे हम बात करते हैं, क्योंकि मैं तो ना इसका बेटा एक्सपर्ट हूँ ये कंप्यूटर का। मुझे तो जितने तक ये बड़ी मुश्किल से जो चला रहा हूँ ये सारा कर रहा हूँ, और मुझे तो इन लेक्चरों पे मज़ा भी नहीं आता, ये लेक्चर लेना और करना ये सारा। तो इस पे ये आपकी एक प्रैक्टिस चले हैं, इसको कितना कंसिडर कॉलेज करता है ये जितनी आप असाइनमेंट्स आपकी ऑनलाइन हैं, तो बेसिकली असाइनमेंट वही है जो आपकी एग्जाम में वहीं पे होती हैं। इसको कितनी वेटेज देता है कॉलेज, ये एक अभी क्वेश्चन मार्क है, ठीक है। लेकिन इसको आप करते जाएं जो भी
ठीक
है,
है, थैंक यू।
तो इस पर कोई इतना बुरा इफेक्ट नहीं आएगा, तो हम इसको कंसिडर कर लेंगे। अगर आपकी बाकी परफॉर्मेंस इन क्लास वाली अच्छी होगी तो वो किसी को परेशान होने की जरूरत। तो ये लो जी, मैं इसको सेव कर रहा हूँ, है फिर टाइम इसका ना हो जाए। थैंक यू वेरी मच, ठीक है।